Things at Leeds United haven't been great for a little bit. It's been a case of we've sold more players and then there's been rumours on players coming in, but have they showed up? Probably not. And each individual issue that we are having is revealing another, and that includes individual issues that are on the pitch. And on Wednesday, we saw what I think is going to become Leeds United's biggest issue if we are not able to solve it fairly quickly. Now, when I say Leeds United's biggest issue, I'm talking big picture stuff here. I will get to that towards the end of the video. I'm building to a narrative here. It's all good. But yeah, welcome to the channel. Hope you enjoy. So in this video, I'll have a quick look back at the Boro match, which I don't really want to do, but it wasn't a fun match. We have to talk about it. We'll talk about what exactly changed from the weekend, how exactly we would solve the problem, what happens now, what that means for West Brom, and ultimately what this big problem is, and how exactly we go about resolving it. So, to start with, we need to start by looking back at Boro, and the second half was absolutely shocking. We all know that. We went into half-time 0-0 and we're like, yeah, this is fine. Then for the first 5 or 6 minutes of the second half, they just have the ball and decide to put it in our net. It's kind of annoying when that happens. The defence was undeniably horrendous in that second half, and that's fair, but that's for another video. That's not the topic of this one, because in my opinion, even the first half had a very, very big issue that was a severe drop-off from what we saw in the first match of the season against Portsmouth, and that is the fact that chance creation was relatively poor. Against Portsmouth, we got more than 3 XG. Against Boro, I don't think we even hit 1. We definitely struggled to get going. We struggled to sort of get a little bit of momentum, and it all got a little bit stumbly and struggly and not fun. So the question for me is, what exactly changed? And basically, it was the front line. We didn't have Nonto on the left-hand side doing his cutting inside, having a go thing, taking on a man. We didn't have Dan James on the right-hand side bombing on down the flank. Gelhardt was okay, but he's not quite got the pace and confidence to take on a man like James does. And we didn't have Mateo Joseph up there, who himself with his movement is able to create more and more chances. But importantly, there was no Jorginho Rutter. My opinion, that would be the issue with what happened on the Boro match. And we weren't able to create any chances, which meant that we struggled going into the second half. And I'll be honest, the Boro midfield didn't have anything to be afraid of, because Georgie is happy to do that dropping towards the edge of his own box thing and creating a chance from there. And I think that long-term, this is indicative of what the big issue is. The fact that long-term replacing him seems incredibly hard. Obscenely difficult, because a lot of people will point to the fact that, well, he can't finish that well. That's true. But in terms of creating chances, it's not just about the sheer volume of opportunities he is able to create as a player, but it's the format through which those opportunities are generated. So, on one side, very, 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 very few players in the EFL can dribble quite like him. My mind immediately goes back to that goal he scored against, I think, Ipswich, where he just took on 4 or 5 players, slotted it in the bottom corner. That was delicious. Great stuff, and it came from absolutely nothing because he's happy to just take on a man. And then that's not the only way that he creates chances, because I've also remembered a chance that we had last season, where Georgie, facing towards our own goal, near our own third, has a glance over his shoulder, sees someone making a run, and just pings it. It might have been to Somerville, off the top of my head. He's also not here. Fantastic. But to me, relatively few players have that passing vision. A few more do, because that's not what he's really renowned for. But on the relative scale of things, he's got very good passing compared to the rest of the Championship. Combine those and he's comfortably too good for the division. Like, I'm surprised he didn't go earlier in the window. And I don't think any other players in the EFL have both. And I don't think any players that you can sign to come to the EFL have both. At least to that level. So, replacing Georgie becomes a multiple player job. And that is where things get tough. And honestly, it's a good job we've got a really long time. We can take our time and pick out the targets. And there's 2 weeks the window left. It closes on the 30th. We've got, what, 14 days and 8 hours at the time that I'm recording this? So that's good. And it's not even like our targets have been static throughout that period. So Sammy Schmodix, today, I think, agreed a deal to go to Ipswich permanently, which is a player that we now can't get, and he was really, really good at finishing off opportunities. Maybe not a creator, but he'd do a little something in there. But that's fine. I'm sure there's a midfield creator that was sort of playoff-ish level last season that wants to leave his club and created lots and lots of opportunities through his passing. Gabriel Sara went off to Turkey, didn't he? Effectively unchallenged as well. Aside from if we pretend that £6 million bid was real, which, let's be honest, no, it wasn't. We wouldn't be bidding £6 million for Gabriel Sara. That would be beyond stupid. Add on to that the fact that we are still dithering on the row conversation to the extent that Marseille have been out and then withdrew themselves because it was too expensive. Then they made another bid, and then they might have pulled out again, but now Monaco are in. And in all that time, we've been in informal discussions with Norwich to try and see if we can get something to happen. We've not actually been making the move, which, great, considering we've got such a long time. And there is very little talent left out there that ticks all the boxes, or even ticks one half of the boxes. Someone like a Jack Clark, for example, would cover the dribbling side of things, but he's not really an inside 10, and he's not really covering the passing. And we've got a Somerville to cover for. That's good. But that is sort of discussion on the wider transfer window. That is what I think the biggest issue is, the fact that we are taking so long to do anything. Because we know exactly what needs to be done, and let's be honest, we knew what needed to be done before Rutter went. The club hierarchy should have known, and they didn't act. But now, well done, you've got 2 weeks, get it done. But in the short term, that's all long-term thinking. What about West Brom? What about West Brom? Oh, dear. Oh, buddy. Are we going to beat West Brom? I'll put it like this. Start of the season, I said I was going to do a thing where I'd stream every single day that Leeds went unbeaten in general, and then we lost to Boro, and I said we'd make it in the league, and then we sold Georgie. So my consecutive days of streaming feel safe, because on Sunday I'm down in London for work. I think it'll be really tough to stream, but thankfully I don't think I'll have to, looking at what's been going on at the moment. I think West Brom is going to be an unpleasant experience, and there's a little bit of me that wants it to be. There's a little teensy bit of me that says, I hope this is a really bad match and it teaches a lesson to the decision makers that, okay, now you've got 12 or 13 days. Now you have to go. Because that kick up the arse might be what it takes to get the players that we need in through the door. I hope we don't lose. I am a Leeds fan at the end of the day. I quite like it when we win football matches. But I think it'd be more sustainable to win football matches if we actually got some players in that can do that. But at the end of the day, as always, that's just what I think. Let me know what you think in the comments down below. Like, subscribe, you could even become a channel member. It's 99p a month and it's massively appreciated. Hope you enjoyed, and I will see you later. Ta-ra.